Good morning and welcome to Farm Factor. I'm your host, Jamie Bloom. On today's show, Duane Toews is joined by Tim Lust with National Sorghum Producers, talking about the 2018 crop outlook. Then enjoy this week's Kansas Soybean update. Next, Duane Toews and Kelly O'Halloran with Bayer Crop Science introduce us to the AgVocate campaign tools, available to farmers and supporting businesses that want talking points to promote ag. Then it's this week's Angus Report, and we'll end with Plain Talk featuring Kyle and Duane. Stay with us.
Closed captioning brought to you by Ag Promo Source. Together we grow. Learn more at agpromosource.com. This segment brought to you by Kansas Farm Bureau, the voice of agriculture. To join today or more information, go to kfb.org or find us on Facebook and Twitter.
Welcome to Farm Factor. Up first, Duane Toews is joined by Tim Lust with National Sorghum Producers, talking about the 2018 crop outlook.
Duane Toews joining you once again with Ag AM in Kansas, and a chance to catch up with Tim Lust, CEO of National Sorghum Producers. Tim, we think about sorghum industry, a lot of positive momentum going on right now. Looks like this may be a year, just because of lack of acres, we may have more buyers than we have sellers.
Absolutely. I think when you look at the basis increase over the last month or two, very significant increase in basis, obviously clearly showing that we don't have enough product for the demand that we have.
That's a good problem to have, and certainly when we think about building demand worldwide, we continue to see that product move into a number of foreign markets.
Absolutely. China, of course, is leading the charge and continues to pull very heavily on the U.S. sorghum, and has certainly moved sorghum prices above corn in many parts of the United States because of that, and continue to have very strong discussions and working relationships with our Chinese buyers. Really looking to see and how we get that market signal back to the farmer level for 2018. As we know, going into 2017, we really didn't have that market signal when it was time for producers to make planning decisions. So been having a lot of discussions with those buyers to make sure that we get that market signal for 2018 so growers know that they have some profitability options as they go into 2018.
Obviously, sugarcane aphid was used at least as a scapegoat for some to reduce sorghum acres in Kansas in particular this past year. We saw that, hey, it is a pest, it's manageable, and we had significantly less pressure this year than a year ago, and those growers that stuck with grain sorghum, they're pretty pleased with their results.
Absolutely. I think, as we continue to use more resistant, tolerant type hybrids, that has slowed down the increases in the South as we move to products that are getting us really good residual on the control factor. It just hasn't been an issue this year in many parts of the country like it was the past two. That's very positive for a number of reasons, and, a lot more hybrids even coming to the market for 2018. There as well that will be helpful in that. So I think it's one of those things long term that we've certainly seen some challenges the last couple of years, but this year was a breath of sunshine to really be able to see very few producers affected by it, and those that were be able to control it effectively.
Our thanks to Tim Lust, CEO of the National Sorghum Producers, joining us on Ag AM in Kansas. Jamie, we'll send it back to you.
Thanks, Duane. Be sure to come back after these messages for this week's Kansas Soybean Update.
Hi, I'm Kim Mandring with Hardy Insurance. I'm here to help you with all of your farm and ranch needs. When it comes to protecting your operation and your family, you need a name you can trust at a price you can afford. Call me today or visit hardyaviationins.com.
Heinen Brothers, a fourth-generation Northeast Kansas farm family, knows how tough farming can be. Farmers helping farmers. Heinen Brothers Ag, selling and servicing crop protection products, fertilizer, anhydrous ammonia, cover crops, quality aerial and ground application. Call today to learn about our extended term financing program. 800-760-4964. HeinenBrothersAg.com. Next time you see a beautiful field of corn, reach out and thank the farmers who work tirelessly to raise corn for livestock feed, renewable fuels, and exports to feed a growing world population. The farmers on the Kansas Corn Commission work for Kansas Corn with grower-funded checkoff dollars that support foreign and domestic market development, research, promotion, and education to expand opportunities for Kansas farmers. To learn more, visit kscorn.com.
Ag Promo Source is a unique group of marketing specialists with one mission: help your ag business grow. Each affiliate has their own area of expertise, and they work together to bring you advice, products, and services. To get started, visit agpromosource.com. Ag Promo Source. Together we grow.
This segment is brought to you by the Kansas Soybean Commission. The Soybean Checkoff. Progress powered by Kansas farmers.
Welcome back to Farm Factor and the Kansas Soybean Update.
This is the Kansas Soybean Update. It's brought to you by the Kansas Soybean Commission. The Soybean Checkoff, progress powered by Kansas farmers. Hoon Gee is joining us. He is the founder of MegCorp. And Hoon, during the school year, MegCorp conducted workshops to diesel mechanic students at 6 technical colleges. Can you talk about what type of education they received during the workshops?
Basically, what I tell people is how the diesel fuel has changed over recent years, and then how to troubleshoot common filter plugging issue. People always talk about how fuel change, but they don't really understand about the biodiesel, so we're trying to tell them that how those two work together.
And when these students become mechanics, it's amazing to see how customers really value the opinions of their mechanics with regards to these issues.
Yes, they do. As a matter of fact, a lot of those people really trust their mechanic, and so our job is mainly make sure give right information rather than a lot of myths going on with biodiesel. And also, typically, fuel-related problem, basically, everybody thinks it's fuel-related, only about maybe 80%, actually nothing to do with the fuel. So we want to give them good education on really fuel is not the main cause of the problem with their engine.
Do you find that it's fairly easy to talk with those students to tell them why maybe some of the misconceptions they had are incorrect?
Initially, we had a little bit of a rough time, but then as the word spread, we've been doing this since 2011. I think people are kind of looking forward to it, and actually they're much more open-minded.
I would think diesel technicians have pretty much stayed in high demand, too.
A very high demand. My understanding is, again, a few years ago I was in Omaha basically talking about how much diesel mechanic student they need. What I heard was next several years there's going to be at least 50,000 more mechanics just to replace the current people who are retiring, not including the new ones they need, so they are very big in demand.
Why is it important to have groups like the Kansas Soybean Commission who have been sponsoring this for several years on having these types of workshops?
People they really trust their mechanics, so we want to make sure that they get the right kinds of information. And again, if they need help with any kind of troubleshooting issue, we'll offer that help.
Fuel quality is so important in all this, and this is where biodiesel comes in and has so many great advantages.
The main thing is support energy independence. The main thing is support local economy. And then the last thing is reduce harmful emissions. So if you believe in all those three things, I think biodiesel is very crucial in terms of how our local economy does.
And you're seeing auto manufacturers really start to come out with even more of those, too.
Because there's a lot more diesel engines kind of start to come in, the small engines and the light pickup truck. We try to educate some of those auto technicians because eventually on their shop they might see diesel-related engine. Because of that, we are continue to increase exposure to their diesel fuel to those auto technicians.
Hoon Gee, who is the founder of MegCorp, is joining us on the Kansas Soybean Update. It's brought to you by the Kansas Soybean Commission. The Soybean Checkoff, progress powered by Kansas farmers. Learn more at kansassoybeans.org. For Kansas Soybeans, I'm Greg Akagi.
Hope you enjoyed this week's Kansas Soybean Update. Stay with us after the break for more with Duane Toews and Kelly O'Halloran with Bayer Crop Science.
What if U.S. soybean oil were an industry sensation? If end users started asking for it by name? That future is here, the time is now. To meet customer demands, the Soybean Checkoff is investing in varieties that produce oil with increased functionality. A message from the Kansas Soybean Commission, the Soybean Checkoff, progress powered by Kansas farmers.
What does a brighter, more sustainable future look like in our cities and towns, and how do we get there? When New York needed an alternative fuel source to reduce carbon emissions, the city found what it needed in biodiesel made from U.S. soybean oil.
All over the country, more and more communities are making the change to biodiesel made from U.S. soybean oil. And the decision continues, improving the health and welfare for millions of Americans while adding billions to our national economy.
Valley Vet Supply is devoted to providing information and professional quality products at reasonable prices.
Valley Vet Supply.
This segment brought to you by Sure Crop, liquid crop nutrition delivered right to your farm.
We're back. Now Duane and Kelly O'Halloran are talking about Bayer Crop Science's AgVocate campaign that was launched a couple of years ago.
Duane Toews joining you once again here on Ag AM in Kansas, and a chance to catch up with Kelly O'Halloran with Bayer. And Kelly, you work in the advocating aspect of the industry and the business for Bayer's behalf. Talk a little bit about what advocating really means for agriculture.
Sure. So back in 2016, Bayer developed this platform called the AgVocate program, and we've decided that we want to reach out to farmer growers and other stakeholders in the industry, like students, for example, and give them the tools they need to proactively talk about what they do. So growers, as we know, are experts in their field, but they haven't always had an opportunity to engage in a broader way about what they're doing. So we're giving them communications tactics and tools, but also helping them learn how to develop key messages that resonate with a non-ag public and general consumers. So it's just it's a training opportunity and a larger program with resources and all sorts of support material.
One of the big things, Kelly, that when I talk to growers and producers, they're concerned about what message do I give, and being able to speak to a consumer and get the right message across.
Yeah, I know that's a challenge for a lot of growers because agriculture can be a complex topic. It's science-based, and it's only 2% of the population is actively involved. So there's a lot of mystery, but the way we like to approach the AgVocate program is that we invite growers to just talk about what they do on the farm, talk about what they're doing for sustainability, talk about how their operation's been handed down from generations, or perhaps they're a brand new operation and what they're interested in doing. So just talking about their day, what they farm, how they farm it, just being as transparent and open as possible, using just very common language. We like to say, try to talk about what you're doing to a very smart and engaged fifth grader. So use the type of language that most folks would understand that don't come from an agri-science background.
We think about the consumer. They're a public today that wants more information and really willing to learn in most instances.
That's right, and especially with the growing relevance of social media, I think there's lots of information out there, and folks are more inclined to consume what they see on social media more than ever before. So that's one of the ways we encourage advocating for growers, especially, is to snap a photo when you're out in the field next time and post it to social media, and you'll certainly get lots of questions, and that invites an opportunity for you to explain a little bit more about the industry, or to demystify some of the topics and big questions that are out there today.
We think about the opportunity to reach youth as well, and incorporating them into advocating for agriculture as well.
Yeah, so at Bayer we have a terrific program called Making Science Make Sense, where we go into schools and really try to get students excited about a career in agriculture or a career in science. And then we also have terrific partnerships with 4-H and FFA. And throughout those relationships and in those programs, we always try to underline it with the message of advocating. So the more you can go out and spread the word about what we know in the ag industry, the better off everyone will be, the more informed we are.
And ultimately, it's in everyone's best interest. Not only do we build a better relationship with consumers, but consumers have an opportunity to know about what it is that we do in agriculture to provide the food and fiber for them.
That's absolutely right. I think we've all noticed there's a growing trend. People are more interested than ever about where their food comes from. Everyone loves taking photos of the food on their plate or out at a restaurant. Food's just part of our culture and a way we connect. So I think that's a real interesting and important touch point for growers to say, hey, I know you're enjoying that food. Did you know I grow that food? And would you like to learn some more about how I do that in a sustainable way? So.
Well, our thanks to Kelly O'Halloran joining us on Ag AM in Kansas. Jamie, we'll send it back to you.
Thanks, Duane. Come back after the break for this week's Angus Report.
My name's Karen Cope, and I have multiple sclerosis. I heard about the stem cell research with the Kansas Regenerative Medicine Center. Before we decided to do that, I had cognitive testing done. After the stem cells, I had the cognitive testing completed again, and the results indicated that I had a 6-point increase in my cognitive abilities. It was like somebody had taken Windex and washed all the fog off my brain, and so I had the concrete, validated information that stem cells work.
KFRM is one of the largest farm radio stations in the nation, dedicated to informing and entertaining rural listeners from northern Oklahoma to southwestern Nebraska. You can catch KFRM in many ways, of course, 550 on the AM dial, streaming at kfrm.com, or on your smartphone by going to the TuneIn Radio app, or on Ag AM in Kansas on Tuesdays and Facebook every day of the week. KFRM, tune us in. You'll be glad you did.
This segment brought to you by Kansas Farm Bureau, the voice of agriculture. To join today or more information, go to kfb.org or find us on Facebook and Twitter.
Welcome back to Farm Factor and the Angus Report.
After analyzing millions of numbers, animal scientists and commercial feeders know what should happen when finishing cattle.
Feedlot performance is actually very predictable, and the deviation between the observed and the predicted performance is an opportunity for producers to see where they can improve, because the relationship between energy intake and average daily gain of the animal is so closely associated that it just gives them an opportunity to improve performance.
Those implications extend all the way back to the ranch.
All of us have expectations. These expectations are based on experience and on concepts, tradition, whatever concept is influencing that expectation. But the expectations can be modeled so that the rancher can start to be more careful to target the actual performance against a modeled expectation rather than a tradition or something else.
Back at the feed yard, Zinn says managers see a lot of variation based on genetics and breed type.
A lot of the variation in grade has to do with the initial weight in which cattle are placed on feed. And of course, a lot of it has to do with the genetics of the animal. Some animals grade more quickly than other animals do. The intramuscular marbling or marbling that the animals have is a function of protein mass. But some breeds, for example, the Angus breed, they reach that mature mass at a much more rapid rate than other breeds. And so we get an exceptional marbling in that breed.
Knowledge of the variation from pen to pen is a key factor in achieving predictable and profitable finishing.
The genetic potential for growth is something that the feedlot manager needs to understand, and that number goes into the calculation of the mature weight and when the animal is going to be harvested.
It might look like it all comes down to mathematics, but getting the right numbers plugged in actually begins with detailed communication from the ranch. We all come out ahead when we know what to expect. I'm Bob Cervera.
Stay with us. We'll be back after the break with Plain Talk.
Sure Crop Fertilizers was started by my father, Don Sherman, and my mother, Shirley Sherman. Family business that started in the 80s. We predominantly focus on plant nutrients and what we can do to give growers better responses with the fertilizer dollars that they do, and what we can do to make those things work better for the grower. We're based out of Seneca, Kansas. We work with growers in their soil analysis to figure out what they need, and then we can put those in a blend that gives them the best results, and so that we can deliver that direct to their farm so that they have those nutrients where they need them, when they need them, and so that they can apply them in a manner that's very efficient to them and works well in their planting systems and what they're doing. Sure Crop Fertilizers has been around for a long time. We always say we're big enough to take care of everything you need, but yet we're small enough to do it quickly. You can get a hold of us at 1-800-635-4743. Our website is surecropfertilizers.com, and you can always email me at Corey@surecropfertilizers.com, and with any questions you have, we'll be glad to answer it and work with you.
Hi, I'm Randy.
And I'm Paul from PFI.
We would like to personally invite you to stop by PFI, home of Boot Daddies.
PFI is America's Western store, covering over 50,000 square feet.
Over 25,000 boots.
Visit Saddle City with the largest selection of saddles and tack anywhere.
A huge selection of hats at Big Spur Hat Company in PFI Town.
And choose from the best brands of clothing and accessories for the entire family.
PFI, located on Highway 65 at the Battlefield exit in Springfield. And I'm not kidding.
This segment brought to you by Kansas Corn. Learn more at kscorn.com.
Welcome back. Now let's see what Kyle and Duane are up to on Plain Talk.
Hi, this is Kyle Bauer with Plain Talk with Duane Smart Alec Toews.
And your fact or fiction question of the day, Kyle Bauer.
Yes, Duane Toews.
Me being one of the latecomers and holdouts, but yet still am there today. As of the June 2017, so roughly a year ago.
All right.
A quarter of the world's population were active users of Facebook. Fact or fiction?
That's true. I just saw a deal. Oh no, I was Amazon. It's amazing how many people have Amazon Prime in the world.
Really?
I mean, I did the calculations. They just raised their prices on that.
To be
and
a
I did
Prime member?
and the increase. It's a few bucks per month.
Bottom line?
It's billions.
Billions of dollars.
Okay,
Yeah.
you said 2 billion people Facebook in the world.
25%. 25% population.
Okay, that wouldn't be too. No, that wouldn't be too. That seems like a lot. I'll go true.
That's what it says.
Wow. I mean, they must be in China and India.
Yeah,
because I mean, you get into those countries and you get a lot of, a third of the world's population are right there.
Quarter. Well, oh yeah, but it says reach 2 billion active users.
Right.
More than a quarter of the world's population.
Yeah. Wow. That's
hard
a lot
to believe.
Just think if I could make a penny a day on that many people.
Woo.
That'd be a lot. That would be enough. We could go out to eat.
2 billion pennies a day?
Absolutely.
That adds up to real cash.
Yeah, it's going to make your head hurt. So don't do it.
Don't do that.
How prevalent is hunger in the United States, Duane Toews?
Hunger.
Yep. Now, by the way, this is what they call hunger, okay?
I was going to say, is that me at 4 o'clock in the afternoon?
Exactly. No, it's not.
Or is that the individual that really wonders if they're going to get supper or not?
Source. Constrained hunger refers to a potential sequence of food insecurity that because of prolonged involuntary lack of food, involuntary, okay?
Yeah, you didn't choose to not eat.
Results in discomfort, illness, weakness, or pain that goes beyond the usual uneasy sensation, okay?
Oh.
While USDA measurement of food insecurity provides some information about the economic and social context that may lead to that hunger. Okay.
Right.
In 2012, I realize that's a
while back.
But it's not. I doubt if the data is going to change that
Big
one.
picture of things.
What percentage of the people in the United States were food secure?
Were secure?
Right. In other words, you didn't have to worry, about hunger.
I'm going to say 85%.
You're right on, brother. Right on. But take that back the other way then. 15%
aren't secure.
Aren't secure. Now, that doesn't mean you don't know where every meal doesn't come from.
Right.
But and let's face it.
We get paid in 2 days and the cupboard's about empty. We're going to have to kind of suck it up for a while.
Yeah, well, suck it up. No, I think you still have food there.
Okay.
But there are kids that during the week they get school lunches and school breakfast,
and that's the best.
And so on the weekend, when we're all celebrating the weekend,
not a big plus for them.
No, they go home to empty cupboards. Yeah. And you would break your heart to know how many of those exist out there. So the weekend that's fun to you and I isn't necessarily fun to every kid in the United States. Because let's face it, most of the hunger comes from kids because as an adult, you can do something about it. But as a kid, you're pretty much stuck with the people
what the adult in the household dictates what's going to happen.
Thanks for joining us. I'm your host, Jamie Bloom, and I hope you enjoyed today's show. See you next week on Farm Factor.
Closed captioning brought to you by Ag Promo Source. Together we grow. Learn more at agpromosource.com.